Hey everyone, Charlie here. Today we're going to do something a little bit different on today's Learn to Play Piano episode. A lot of you have seen kind of the 60-second piano lessons that have been on YouTube Shorts and TikToks. If you haven't subscribed, by the way, be sure to check out and subscribe at YouTube and TikTok and Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff. But in those 60-second piano lessons, we did a lot of I did a lot of videos on just like really quick 60-second quick key pointers of some various pieces, a lot of which I've been working on lately. Today, though, I got a lot of requests to do more in-depth lessons, and YouTube's a great platform to do that on. And so I thought I'd do a little bit more of an in-depth, kind of a masterclass on one particular piece, specifically the Rock 2 first movement. This is a very, very famous piece, and it's a piece that a lot of people know and play and all that good stuff. But I thought I'd give you a little bit more of an in-depth, a little bit more than 60 seconds, kind of an overview of the piece and a few tips and pointers that I have here and there throughout. I'm not going to play the whole thing through. There's videos already on that uploaded on my YouTube, so check that out. Or at least a video, I'm not sure. But anyways, thanks for subscribing. I think we're approaching 6,000 as of the recording of this video, so let's hit 6,000 and go beyond. Thanks for sharing and commenting and all that stuff. I like seeing your comments and stuff below. Anyway, let's take a look. So if you have if you're working on this piece, this might be hopefully get some pointers. And remember, like anything in art and music and stuff, a lot of what I'm saying are suggestions. And so you might take some of them, you might leave some of them, you might try some of them out. If you like it, keep it. If you don't, toss it out. Ultimately, you have to make the decisions on what you're going to do and how you're going to play. And there's a lot of times there's no right or wrong answers of how you play something. But anyways, let's take a look here. As a fair warning, my dog Molly loves the march section and the part leading up to it of the first movement. So there's a very good chance she'll come running down and start singing or something. So just be aware that that's probably a likely occurrence unless she's... Yeah, no, I think she's upstairs, so yeah, that would happen probably. So starting off the beat, let's kind of work our way through it just a little bit and just take little bits and pieces of it. So in the introduction, I really, you have the big chords, right? The inner voices are very, very important here, so bring those out. Start quiet. Play deep into the keys, almost pretend like you're playing down into the ground. Now, the tempo at which people take this varies greatly, so I'm not going to get into details of how fast you should play. It's ultimately up to you. You can almost think of the keys as kind of stopping you. Like your hands are going to go down to the floor, but they're stopped by the keys themselves. So you want a slow attack into the keys. And that'll be helpful. Bring out the inner voices, the changing voices as well, because those are the interesting parts. You start these arpeggio type things, right? Obviously the rhythm is almost like fee fi fo fum, like a giant guy walking around or something. But hear the intricacies of the notes that are coming up. It's kind of weaving. It's tumultuous. And you can imagine the orchestra coming in. I'm not going to sing. And there's my dog on cue. So, yeah, she's singing. So think of it, go with the melodic line. Keep the melodic line in your head even as you're practicing it, because you are really accompanying the orchestra. The important part is the da, dee, da, dee, da, da. And so swell and ebb and flow and all that kind of stuff along with the orchestra. Then when you come over to, do I not have measure numbers? I don't have measure numbers in mind. So if you're following along, you'll know where it is. I do have numbers though, like big box numbers. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4 after, no, sorry, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 after 2, box 2. You have the fortissimo. Then it's, you know, kind of building even more. So ebb and flow, deep, rich, deep into the keys. You don't want to do, but you know, this isn't like a nice little sweet thing. This is a Rachmaninoff piece. Play it like Rachmaninoff. All right, so moving on, just before the un poco più mosso, we've got the Espressivo section. This is the first time you really kind of have the melodic line coming into your own, being played by yourself, that is. But you sort of sing it out. Remember, you're playing in if you're playing this piece in public with an orchestra, it's going to be in a hall, in all likelihood. So you got to play it out so that your melodic line sings out above what the orchestra is doing, sustaining below. And you have to sing it out. So rich, deep, but really bring out that melodic line. Shape it. So it's almost like, it's like, oh, even more, you know, like you forgot to say something. And then you get to the un poco più mosso, so a little more motion. Poco, little, più, more, mosso, motion, a little more motion. So practicing this part can be difficult, and you have the orchestra playing with you. Playing this part can be difficult. You have the orchestra playing with you, so you want to kind of keep it rhythmic so that the conductor and the orchestra can follow along easily. So accenting the main beats can be helpful. 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So if you kind of bring out, especially the right hand, I think it can be helpful. Practicing it, I would recommend using slow practicing techniques. I've got videos on that, so be sure to look them up on my YouTube. But long story short, slow practicing it slow, and or hand separately, and or using like slow practice techniques. I guess some of the former are slow practice techniques. It all kind of falls under slow practicing. But you know, short, long, long, short, staccato, play loud, combination of things, all that kind of stuff. So you can practice it slowly to get your mind kind of working differently. And shape it as well. So, you know, you have all these kind of swirls and twists and turns. So shape it with it. It's like a roller coaster, loops, right? And then you got you're back home. Now, the next part. Now we are at, luckily there's no there's no box number here, but we're at the tempo 1, 4 measures after tempo 1, where it says a tempo, where the piano comes in. Take your time. You're not even, the orchestra isn't doing anything for the first, 8 bars of this, so. Schmaltz. Now, Rachmaninoff, my impression of a lot of I have a video I made years ago somewhere, and I think it's on my YouTube as well. Check it out. On a side note, there's this golfing guy on TikTok, I think, that always says like, check it out. Or something like that. Anyway, yeah, I think I follow that guy on TikTok. He's a good golfer. By the way, I suck at golfing, so don't take golfing tips from me. All right, that's a side note. So a tempo. One thing about Rachmaninoff is his melodies tend to never end, and they kind of keep going on further than you think they're going to. So most composers would be like, and that would be like their melody. But not Rachmaninoff. He goes even more, and then he's coming, and then he keeps going. And then he's going da 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 da. It's not even da 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 da. No, it's da 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 more. Right? right? Like he just keeps going. So kind of emphasize a little bit of that, I think, sometimes. So it schmaltz it. Now you kind of start building up more. So now we have a box number. Here's a 5. So it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 after 5. You kind of start growing on your own here. So it becomes a little bit more anxious, right? And then you're really letting go. The orchestra is playing with you, so they're following you, right? Like you're not following them, they're following you. But even then, it's 100 of them and it's 1 of you. So make it the easier you make it for them to follow you, the better, right? So don't go, don't run away from you. You don't want music to do that in general. But you can accelerando and push it, but make it clear. These counter melodies in the left hand, like if you can bring those out sometimes, it's kind of like like a conversation, a dialogue between your right and your left hands. That's great. Let's move on now. So the top of the next page, if you're using the whatever edition I'm using, International Music Company edition, Philip edition, or I don't know, is it Philip? I guess so. I have like 2 versions of this. I don't think there's an Urtext version out. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let me know in the comments if there's an Urtext version out, like Henley. I like Henley versions of everything if I can get it, but I think for Rock 2, no such edition exists yet. It might be because of copyright. I'm not quite sure. So where am I now? Okay, so top of the next page, this is just before 6. No, let's just start right at 6. So this part, let's start before 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 before 6. You got this, your solo again. Very rich, luscious, and now solo, like an individual singer. Rich. Deep playing. Now, it makes a big difference how fast you play the key and if you're playing deep into it. If I was to play it like shallow and just, it would sound tinny, cheap, Not so good, right? But if you really pull on the notes, pull and push on the notes, and play deeply and slowly into the keys, like push slowly, pretend the keys are stopping you from going all the way to the floor, then you can have like the really rich voice. And remember, you're being accompanied with the orchestra. They're playing do, 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 and you're playing what is it? Like they're playing with you. So you're playing do, do, do. Something like that, and then they're playing, right? It's like a dialogue. So keep that in mind, keep what they're playing in mind, and have that conversation back and forth with them. So deep and rich. Oops, sorry. Now don't rush here, but slowly start to build up that. Not really building up like sound or anything, but it's moving more quickly. In the un poco più mosso section here. So, keep the orchestra is following you there, but if you can kind of accent a little bit the main beats, it can be helpful. Slow practicing here also is helpful. 1, 2, 1, 2. This is the part Molly likes. left hand can be useful in kind of keeping the beat there. Yes, Molly. Okay, so yeah. So on that part coming down, let's see if I can start it there. If I just start a little bit earlier. So if you can kind of accent a little bit. Yes, thank you, Molly. So the left hand is playing the eighth notes, right? So that can kind of help give you the steadiness you need and the foundation. But you can also bring out, kind of accent that kind of a thing. This is the part Molly always freaks out in. But you can always kind of accent a little bit of the top as well to kind of keep it clear so the orchestra can hear what you're doing and you don't let it run away from yourself and a whole bunch of things. Now here too, where you're doing these, it's hard to hear those notes. So what you're going to want to do is bring out, kind of do the same thing we were talking about earlier, but with the tops on the right, and you can use your left hand too, to kind of give that slight accent to keep it kind of steady. I think maybe bringing out a little bit of boom, 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 boom can be useful as well. Now this is the part she really, really freaks out on. Più vivo. Clear. And the most important is your right hand. The left hand, yeah, keep it clear, but you know, people are going to be hearing. Okay, Molly, you can stop now, dog. All right. So bring out the parts that people can hear. Okay, now the più vivo. Let's see if there's a numbered box anywhere nearby. The first più vivo is box 8. I don't see a 9. Why do not people put measure numbers in here? I don't know. Anyways, the più vivo after the 8. So it's like in between 8 and 9. Here's 9. You have the repeated octaves. So the interior voice is bottom, bottom. Those are important. And the right hand, keep it the octaves, keep it light. When you have the 3s and the 2s of the octave. So doing the octaves, don't push down. This is not the time to be deep like we were talking about before. But keep it light on the surface. You're kind of just like fluttering. Here. Bring like pretend you're a string player. Push. The right word. It's more like a strain. Like, okay, Molly, yes, she's demonstrating. Okay, so the rest is kind of straightforward. The allegro here, it's becoming more built up, more strenuous. It's desperate. It's like it's absolute desperation. So you it's like you're desperate. Yeah, like my dog is sounding. Okay? Yes. Let's see. So in the march section, deep, rich. Deep, rich, all that good stuff. Okay, yeah, she's okay. She just likes this song. The only one she sings to, this movement. When you come back to the meno mosso section, which is at number 11, box number 11, we've got that single melodic line, you know, like we're kind of like from before. So really sing it out, pull on the notes. The orchestra doesn't even join you for a while. The melody keeps going. Now the orchestra comes in. same old. Back at box 14. It's kind of like this mysterious grumble. It's like it's coming out of nowhere. And what's gonna happen now? We're gonna have a big thing again. And then it fades away. We realize that it fades away starting there, I guess. It's like almost retrospective. We think, oh, is it going to grow into something huge again like it has? No, it's reflective. When you get to the C major glissando, arpeggio, grace note, whatever you want to call it, thing at 15, box 15, we're coming out of this 2 before 15. What's going to happen? And we go to C major for, I think, maybe the first time. Triplets. Make sure the tops come out, and you shape the triplets up and down. You know, think of the melodic line. Now, at the meno mosso at box 16, we're coming out 2 before 16 of similar stuff. What's going to happen is kind of uncertain, and then suddenly we have a tempo. Suddenly we have it's like something in the distance, but it's almost like a mechanical kind of like a mechanical device off in the distance, like a clock or something. Organic, and then more organic, shaped. 2 pages. Now we're accelerating, building up to the climax. So if you can, bring out a. If you want, right? You want that. Ba-da-ba-bum, ba-dum, ba-da-ba-bum. Driving up on that last kind of big hurrah at the end, I would probably recommend bringing out the thumb, the top note of the left hand. What are the notes? You really want to hear that kind of scale going up. The right hand, light, kind of, you don't need to play this one deep. This is kind of like those octaves earlier, just kind of off the top. Now, if you can, bring out the tops of those two. So you have whatever the notes are. But that is your slightly extended masterclass on the Rock 2 Movement 1. Hopefully that was helpful. Be sure to subscribe, share, comment, all that good stuff. Let me know if you're playing it. Good luck, and I'll see you guys in another video. Bye-bye.